Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of StarchCast with your hosts, me of course, and the lovely Legalize Tax. How you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, yeah, doing pretty well.
I'm not sure what you said. It sounded like
I
going,
I
huh? And that was it.
I was trying to do a Kermit the Frog
Ah.
thing, but
Hey kids,
but then
it's
I saw
Kermit
that
the
I kind
Frog
of peaked the
here.
mic.
Kermit the Frog here, ready to enjoy the podcast tonight. Ho ho ho.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Week's gone pretty well. So much stuff has been going on, keeping me very busy. But
Same here.
overall, yeah,
We
overall, I'd say good week.
Nothing wrong with that. Firewood just came in for me, so I've been working on getting that. The cord of firewood's closer to a 2 cord at a time, so I moved one whole cord today of firewood, and there's still one, like the other half of that pile, which is clearly a whole nother cord, and then there's supposed to be another 2 cord coming in tomorrow on top of the already busy day we got coming on, which means, man, on top of just the busy week, it's gonna be one hell of a week. I can already tell.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, it looks like my week
How much
starts
is a cord of firewood?
cord of firewood. It's hold on, let me actually look that up because I may not be remembering the measurements right. I think it's like 40 by 40. Hold on. How much is a cord of firewood? One cord. I don't know, 4 foot tall, 4 foot. I guess no, 4 foot tall, 8 foot long, 4 foot wide. Hold on.
It's quite a bit of firewood.
Yeah, 128 cubic feet of firewood. And that is, let me just tell you, a cord of firewood, I got at probably twice that, the way the dude loaded the vehicle. And the reason I say that is because, like where we have a fire stove here, I'm usually the one having to get it all put away to season and whatnot. And, it seems like a lot more this year, like, than a lot of that. And I'm usually pretty okay at telling, like, how good, or how much firewood we got when it comes to
Yeah,
that kind of
I had
thing.
to move. I had to move 191 gallons of fuel this week.
Oh, fun.
Um, as it turns out, we may or may not have actually had permission to do that. So someone got an earful.
Oh,
But hey, you know
fun.
what? I did my due diligence of making sure to ask the people above me if I should be doing this before getting started. So I know I'm covered. It's the people above me that may have to worry.
Oh dear. Sounds
Yeah,
fun.
that's yeah, 191 gallons of fuel is so much.
Y'all loading that in 5 gallon drums, or y'all doing it another way?
In fuel cans.
Oh, so you're talking
I
like
think.
actually like what regular, like you'd bring it to a gas station?
Yeah. Yeah,
Holy
so
shit.
filling up I I think they are about 5-gallon cans.
Okay, so 191, that's let's see, that's let's see, for 50, that would be 10, so 20, almost 30 cans?
Yeah, yeah, roundabout. Well, and then like the remainder is what we put in the vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was actually probably the easiest part of my week, if you can believe it.
I can, just going off how this month's been going.
Yeah, yeah. It has certainly been a month.
Oh boy, yeah, it has.
And yeah, they're gonna be hard up once I move on to the next thing.
Best of luck to you, by the
But
way.
hey, you know what? Best of luck more to the people that I have to leave behind, because that's not gonna be fun for them once I'm gone.
True enough.
Yeah.
So we got.
Anything else you want to say before we, I guess, get into this week's topic?
Nope, I was actually getting ready to mention this week's topic is going to be about. Let's see. Uh, for one, just the major watering down of everything Dungeons and Dragons, plus the Flanderization of media in general.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Yeah,
also
I mean,
before we get into
it kind
this,
of does grow off of one of our original topics for episode 1, but I mean, there was the tweet that really
ooh,
set this off, I think.
yeah, let me show you guys this picture just so you can understand real quick. That is the current Dungeons and Dragons official picture they've been showing, which no one except for like a pretty small group of normies has liked. We got the cock holder, whatever the hell they're calling the gay beholder. Then we got a whole bunch of gays and lesbians, and not a single bit of actual adventuring in sight. You know, Dungeons and Dragons. Hmm.
You got any dungeons for your or yeah, you got any dungeons or dragons?
I mean, they mined
No.
for the lesbian. 40. What is it, like 45% the statistic?
Oof.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, I think it's actually 2/3.
2/3. Damn, that's a lot of dungeons.
Yeah.
Whoops,
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong source. Can't see your lovely badge of drinking beer or ginger beer.
Yeah. And like plenty of people have already talked about the various monsters within there, the kobolds, the beholder, the blue dragon, all of which from the official source books of how they're supposed to act. But really, I think a lot of this problem has started from various mandates starting in third edition Dungeons and Dragons from the start of the 2002 trilogy of the Hunter's Blade, a Drizzt trilogy of books written by Robert A. Salvatore. They received some middling reviews. As always, his action scenes go hard, but it's the character moments that ended up falling off in most reviews. And yeah, I can very much see that Drizzt kind of becomes a bit of a whiny bitch for a little while with the one elf couple that he is kind of attached to for the majority of the first book at least.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, I think that this is going to be the start of me starting to nerd out and autistically explain a trilogy of books
I mean, if we're talking
rather
nerding
than
out, let me just
yeah.
mention one thing real quick. R.A. Salvatore did one of these Star Wars movie novelizations.
Yeah, indeed. Attack of the Clones, if I recall. I had a copy of it on my bookshelf as a kid, although I didn't actually open it up.
It was pretty good.
Uh, yeah, it was owned by my dad. It was just kind of like stored in my room for a while.
Okay.
But I mean, hey, he's the one who introduced me. I started reading Dungeons and Dragons with the Double Diamond Triangle Saga, which was a series of 9 pretty thin paperback books. They're all right.
Okay.
I don't actually remember the plot of most of them though, because it's been so long. But as for Hunter's Blade trilogy, right? This is kind of the real start of Dungeons and Dragons civilized orcs. So the plot of it, the plot of this trilogy is that orc hordes are just pouring out of the mountains and in waves that have never been seen before. And they are led by an, by an orc king, King Obold Many Arrows, who is who is essentially Groomsh's chosen. Groomsh is the god of the orcs, and for those who know Dungeons and Dragons lore, all the gods had, well, I guess those who don't know Dungeons and Dragons lore too much, uh, at the start of at the start of the world being created, essentially, the gods were choosing where their people would go. And so Grumsh, the orc god, was cheated out of anywhere for his people to go. Uh, Angered, he struck at the elven god, I believe, who ended up blinding him, taking out one of his eyes. So half blinding him, which is why Grumsh is the one-eyed orc god. And in his anger, Grumsh had decided that his people would go everywhere and just cause all sorts of problems for all the other races on Faerun. Well, Faerun and all the other realms. I can't remember what the planet specifically is called for Forgotten Realms. Uh, and so that is why orcs have always been these sort of mindless wandering bands of marauders, because they were cheated out of any sort of home, and their pure existence is to spite all the other races. Their job is to just destroy everyone else so that only orcs remain.
I see.
Which, yeah, I think that's pretty neat. It's kind of it, it is very Tolkien-esque because Tolkien designed the orcs to be literal demons. They grew from the ground. They were the corruption of the goodly races, specifically elves and men, and they pretty much just existed to consume and destroy. Uh,
Okay.
so what Obold was doing was he was essentially starting to fulfill Grumsh's designs to claim any sort of territory for orcs themselves. These massive orc hordes just came in and waged actual legitimate war rather than just be weird raiding parties, which was very unique for uh, the time in which it was written. And they end up actually forcing a treaty with neighboring kingdoms to respect their own realm.
Okay.
So, yeah, in this way, Obold had fulfilled part of Grumsh's designs to claim any sort of territory for his people to just live. Uh, and and so orcs finally had a realm to call their own. They and they had territory, they had treaties, and in fact, strangely, they they allied with the dwarves of Mithril Hall on occasion.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that came much later, as as it became sort of normal to just have an orc kingdom right next to you. Uh, in fact, the Kingdom of Many Arrows did claim a lot of territory from Mithril Hall, at least on the surface. And Mithril Hall, of course, wanted to fight them back as far as they could, but they weren't able to receive any sort of proper reinforcements from their allies down in Silvery Moon or what is it, Citadel Felbar, I believe, the other dwarven uh, establishment, especially because the orcs were allied with frost giants. So traveling through the mountains was just not going to be an easy thing. They were, this was proper siege tactics, cutting off supply lines, denying any sort of allies from joining. And the neighboring kingdoms just knew they could not deal with an orc horde of this size, especially this well organized. Obald, being Grumsh's chosen, was not only stronger and faster than the average orc, he was intelligent by human standards as well.
Okay.
And, and he was just given overpowered invincible armor by because why not? It I think that WotC really wanted to just have their civilized orc kingdom and needed to pull out all the bullshit stops to justify it.
Oh well, of course.
But it was interesting for the time, especially because in the in the following books, uh, in in the very recent future after the Kingdom of Many Arrows gets established, not only are the neighboring kingdoms still weirded out that it exists, but a lot of the orcs aren't happy. They don't like just sitting around and having land unto themselves. They feel that they continue to feel Grumsh's call to just raid, pillage, and conquer everything just for them.
I see.
So there's all that sort of tension between their cultural roots and the fulfillment of what they kind of thought they wanted.
All right.
I I think that there's still a lot of good potential story there, but then of course everything else happens and orcs are kind of just like yep, we're normal people now. Haha. We're just kind of traveling nomads. Isn't this neat?
Yep. And you kind of see similar
They're
things with like if we're gonna bring other fantasy races from other fantasy IPs, you kind of see similar with Khajiit from the Elder Scrolls. Similar time frame too with Morrowind.
I go on because like I've heard a little bit about the Khajiit,
Okay, so like prior to
especially how
Morrowind,
they yeah.
most of the beast races were just like weren't even beast races. They were just basically people. And then Morrowind came along, and Argonians were lizard people, slaves, of course, to the Dark Elves. And then there were Khajiit, slaves, of course, to the Dark Elves. This was really anything, like, for the Dark Elves, but especially those two, like, those, all of a sudden we got, like, for one, Argonians, all of a sudden they're lizard people, civilized. Then all of a sudden, Khajiit are civilized beast folks, cats, of course. And well, it's kind of an interesting thing to see because again, prior to this, and, like so as far as I know, let me actually look this up. But from what I remember, like they had been normal, then all of a sudden they just been got turned into beast folks. Were the Khajiit introduced in Elder Scrolls? I feel free to
Yeah,
talk
as I
by the way.
recall, Khajiit are supposed to have various forms as well. There are supposed to be the kind that essentially just look like furries, but also kind that seem almost indistinguishable from saber-toothed cats, and that like they can be born from either parent. So, like a beast can give birth to a person, or a person can give birth to a beast.
Yeah, but meanwhile, in the Elder Scrolls, like, because they actually go all the way back to the first Elder Scrolls, they were just people. The only real difference between like a Khajiit and your Nord or whatever is that for the character generation, face paint to look vaguely that would look vaguely like a cat eye mask. Let's say cat eye mask, but like one of those domino masks, except with like almost cat ears above the eyes. Meanwhile, the women
All
just
right.
looked like big-breasted women for Khajiit.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't until Morrowind, as far as I'm aware, that they actually became beast people.
Hmm.
When were Argonians introduced? Elder Scrolls. That is images, that's all I'm looking for. They were introduced in Arena as well. Hold on. Elder Scrolls Arena Argonians. Okay, these ones actually were beast folks, so I do apologize. I did give some misinformation. They were beast folks, but only so far as they had lizard skin, their faces were kind of screwed up, and but they had regular hair, like people, but like they were covered in scales. Well, only for the males really. The females just have the screwed up face, and the like vaguely lizard-like color. I'll see if I can. I can't really show because it's too bright. It doesn't want to color correct or focus. Come on. Nope, it will not autofocus. Alright. But yeah, no. So yeah, those ones, I guess, Argonians were always beast folk, so I do apologize for the misinformation there. But they were still mostly human-like, other than the scales, the skin color, which was vaguely snake-like in the kind of weird grayish way, and then the screwed-up faces. Other than that, they were basically just human.
I would probably chalk that up to mostly budget constraints.
Maybe?
Just because, like, Arena was pretty cheaply, by today's standards, made. So and they probably just didn't have the budget to really show nearly as much detail as they would have wanted.
I mean, I could look up what
I
Argonians looked like in Daggerfall. Because that was the second Elder Scrolls. Okay, in Daggerfall, they looked more like the Argonians we know now. But let's see, the Khajiit. Like, I'm just more looking up on my phone for the hell of it. Let's see, Khajiit.
all right.
Okay, so the only difference between Khajiit in Arena and Khajiit in Daggerfall is the tails. Other than that, they still look human. Or I guess there are some NPCs that have vaguely animal-looking feet. Only vaguely, though. Unless... Oh, that's with mods, never mind, so that doesn't count. But
Yeah, mods don't necessarily count.
yeah. What about Battlespire, which was what we had before? Oh, feel free, by the way, to keep talking if you'd like.
Yeah, so it was, while the civilized orcs were novel for the time, it definitely set the stage for more people to see them more and more as just regular people, and they lost their deep-rooted cultural identity. It and to the point where now orcs aren't even monsters in the current monster manual, and they're just some weird sort of nomad people.
So
In a
what you're
way, I
saying
think
is that
that
they are Romanian now.
in a way, I think it's almost more appropriate to to somewhat compare the orcs to the Taliban, where
Oh
they
wow,
were
there's...
coming from the mountains for the longest time, and now that they finally have control of an area to call their own, they're like, well, what now? And they're having to deal with the just the soul crushing attrition of maintaining civilization. The orcs must fill the spreadsheets.
Oh my goodness, there's some of Abdul Grokash all over the walls. Not again. Sorry, that
Orc
was a...
was supposed to die for Grumsh, not fill a cuneiform spreadsheet.
I need my copper. Where's those damn tablets, Grokash?
Yeah, it, they just lost their cultural sauce,
Yep.
and now just nobody really knows what quite to do with them.
Yep.
It is sad in many ways.
That it is. It is incredibly sad. But it kind of shows the problem that was just starting for Dungeons and Dragons that would unfortunately fester and get worse.
Yeah.
And really kind of just the problem that was kind of was starting everywhere and was only going to get worse. The Flanderization.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's orcs kind of underwent an anti-Flanderization, partially because as people continued to see them as regular people, then it started being racist. So then they just became a gray sludge of nothing.
I still can't believe there's people who unironically, with their whole chest, say, yeah, orcs, those uncivilized savages who commit murder, rape, and all this kind of stuff? Yeah, those are black people. Like, do they hear
Yeah,
themselves when they say that shit?
it I and they're unironically trying to say that they're the good people for seeing that when, like I said, they were supposed to represent demons.
Mm-hmm. Are you
And then of course and then of course there's the people who are unironically like, we need to stop demonizing demons.
Yeah,
N-
friggin', like,
no.
the internet was a mistake in certain ways. Good lord.
Yeah, very much so.
Like, speaking of, though, things that got, like, flanderized and watered down, one of the most famous examples currently in fiction, Fallout.
Oh yeah.
Like, we went from a super serious, post apocalypse video game with, like, again, very serious themes, but also the theme of rebuilding civilization to Todd Howard's Misery Jackoff. And, like, with the, like, really stupid, absurdist humor. And, like, oh yeah, you remember all the cool stuff, like, serious themes, these factions that actually mattered in some way, all the cool stuff like civilization rebuilding? Yeah, you don't need any of that. You're gonna dance to my fife now, boy. We're gonna have, like, a shanty towns. We're gonna have, remember Shady Sands from Fallout? Yeah, no, that's been nuked. Go fuck yourself. It's like, okay. Why do you hate, like, that people did Fallout better than you did, dude? Just grow up.
Yeah. And I I got into Fallout thanks to New Vegas being on sale. I got the Ultimate Edition for like $7, and I just I was just blown away by it. It- I had no nostalgia for the previous ones. I'd never played them. I'd heard things about them, but it, when you only hear bits and pieces and you never actually experience it for yourself, you really have no idea what's going on.
Yep.
And I I played it I basically blind and just loved it. And then the and then I played and actually my second one was Fallout 4, and I just got bored so quickly. I I have never actually managed to make it to the very end of a Bethesda Game Studios game
Understandable.
because I just lose interest. And Fallout 4 has so few side quests that aren't just Radiant quests that I ran out of stuff that actually interested me, and the main quest just wasn't gripping me. So I've never actually finished it.
I have
And
finished the
from
main
what I hear,
quest.
there are only two endings.
Actually,
So
technically, if you don't touch the DLC, there's a couple. There's Institute, there's Brotherhood of Steel, there's Minutemen, or there's the Railroad, which is the biggest friggin' joke. Much like what they did
yeah, but
to,
Railroad Brotherhood and Minutemen are the same ending.
technically, but at the same time, you can actually make things very slightly different. I'm not saying it's a huge difference, but there is, like, a slight difference. But yeah, no, like, the only Really, like the only actually decent ending is the Institute ending. And even that one's kind of like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm shooting at people again. So creative.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got so tired of everything being a shooting gallery.
Yeah.
There were there were no difficult choices.
The most difficult
And
choice
the
was figuring out
and
what
and
skill
the
to max
and
first.
the Cabot House. Oh,
The Cabot House, man.
the alien subquest.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying man because, like, that quest was pretty dumb, but the two endings were interesting to see.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, sure, you can either get uh an explosive um freaking radiation gun, or you can get unlimited rat away,
Yeah. But actually, not even
essentially.
unlimited right away
Essentially.
because if you sell said Cabot serum, or if you like give it to a companion, no more for you.
Or if you use it on that one guy in Far Harbor.
That too. I never finished Far, or I've actually no, I did finish Far Harbor, but it was so forgettable that I was just like, yeah, I'd rather not admit I finished it.
Yeah, it's and
Demo.
I did finish Far Harbor as well, so it at least gripped me enough for me to want to finish it, but it was so underwhelming.
The only quest I found myself actually enjoying from Far Harbor was the Robo Brain murder mystery.
Oh yeah, the highly condensed version of the Autumn Leaves mod.
Yeah, basically.
The best part of the DLC? What they copied from a mod.
Truly, some things never change from Bethesda.
Yeah,
Again, we're talking about games that
yeah.
we actually finish from Fallout. Or I say Fallout, but in Bethesda Game Studios. Like, if we don't count the DLC, then I have finished Fallout 4, but I've also finished The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I know I did Fallout 3 I think on my own time, and that was something. My biggest issue is there's certain main quests and shit that are so broken that it's like, yeah, okay. Now, granted, probably some of that's with a shitty Fusion emulator that's the official one that Microsoft uses for its backwards compatible games, but I mean, still, if you try to go into the pit later on, like once you've hit a certain level, it basically just insta crashes and can corrupt your save.
Oh goody.
Yeah, so you're better off, despite the fact it is really, really hard, you're better off kind of going in at an early level and hoping you don't die a bunch.
Yeah, for me, I tried to play Fallout 3, but DC had me crashing constantly, and I was unable to start Point Lookout. Like I would buy the ticket and the screen would fade to black, and then it would just cut right back to everything, and I would just be standing there, all controls disabled.
That sounds like a similar bug to what I got in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Legendary Edition for the 360 back in the day. Cause
Oh,
if you tried doing the Moth Priest quest as a vampire, tried turning a Moth Priest into your thrall, you would get locked in the animation and like sure you could move your character in the animation, but that was it. You could just kind of make it look like your character is just kind of undulating back and forth at the Moth Priest, and that's it. No
oh,
actual anything from that. And if you tried loading, it would load you right back into that shitty animation, so you'd have to go back a couple of saves. And at that point, I was shit. I don't know, 13, maybe closer to 12 or so, but I think it was like 13. And I was like, I've sunk so many hours into this game. I can't do this anymore. Like, whole sunken cost fallacy, basically. Like, or maybe not quite that, but I mean, like, I was like, dude, I've put this many hours into the game at this point because I was basically no life in it. Because, little kid, nothing to do, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, it's not worth it. And, when you're a kid, it kind of takes a lot for you to be like, no, this isn't worth, this is awful. And, that really did it for me. I was like, I can't waste my time playing this awful friggin' game anymore.
Yeah, if your game is just so not worth someone's time that someone with unlimited time can't be bothered, you really messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. That's why
But
I
yeah,
started
and
playing Oblivion instead and having a much better time. Sorry for cutting you off.
yeah, I started playing Oblivion, but I just kind of got bored
That's fair.
during it.
Oblivion is one of the few Bethesda games that I have actually finished, and even that one was after having just done mostly just the main quests with like some of the DLC. Because some of it, like I don't think I've ever finished Knights of the Nine to this day because it is just such like it's so fucking tedious. Like even just doing the pilgrimage with the way that the map is set up. Because if you try to traverse certain areas, like it'll say you can't go that way, go back, and artificially lock you from actually going certain directions. There's actually
Mm,
quite a few quests that are locked like that, and while sure, on PC you can just do the console command to remove barriers like that, but I mean at that point, why even bother, right?
yeah,
And somehow I doubt Bethesda's ever gonna learn that lesson, or really any lessons.
I I really hope that they do, but given given the popularity of the show, I think that it's and I think that Fallout's just gonna die a slow death as as all the invested fans just wither away and all of the fair weathers move on to the next thing.
For real, like,
I
yeah,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, there's a lot of people who I know who checked out in the first season pretty friggin' early. You fine with spoilers for the show?
I Go right ahead.
All right,
I'm aware of everything that happens in it.
so am I, but I figured just to ask anyways. So they make it so that way instead of like who the original Fallout creator Kane said, which is that Chinese, the Chinese were the ones who launched the first nukes. Now they decided for the show to be like, oh no, it was Robcode to drive up so that way all the different vault dwellers would just have to use the Vault-Tec products with all the experiments. And that was on top of all the other
Yeah.
stupid shit, including this whole communist rally. And oh boy, what a surprise! Actual friggin' retards are correct this time. And I'm sorry, and this I know it's gonna piss people off, but communism is an idiot plot, and anyone who worships that ideology is retarded, flat out.
Yeah.
That's my only political tirade I'm getting into, and I do apologize for bringing it up. I just, ugh.
It's it's a base take.
I loathe communism and socialism and most of that shit because it's like, come on, dude. If you're gonna worship a failed ideology that's whole thing is that its creator was a rich, but like wasn't he kind of like a rich prick who was like, oh yeah, no, we gotta crush the bourgeoisie. I'm gonna leech off
He
all my
it,
friends. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, he wasn't even that rich. He actually was just a couch bum that leached off of his more successful friends.
much like every other communist.
Yeah. And but yeah, absolutely. Heck, Fallout 2 confirms that the Chinese were indeed the first to launch the nukes. And I mean, maybe you want to argue that President Dick Richardson was lying about that, but I mean, he doesn't really have any reason to be lying about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's been how long after the bombs fell? There's no reason to lie about it because everyone's fucking dead from at that point.
Yeah. And in fact, he sounds bitter about it. It he if he sounded any differently, maybe you could question him as an as an authentic source, but because he sounds so bitter that the Chinese got them first, that's what adds a little bit of extra credibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. What I what else about it? Yeah, it's just so tiresome. People
And
who don't really understand the franchise at all being the ones in control of it.
and yet people keep handing Amazon money to be like, "Oh hey, poorly adapt our TV show, turn it into shit." Which there's another, or I say TV show, but like poorly adapt our media into a TV show. Like one of the most recent examples even of that is Yakuza Ryoga Gotoku, Like a Dragon, whatever you want to call it. Like Amazon pretty poorly adapted that one too. Now that one got so poorly adapted, I only ever heard people talking about it like a couple weeks after the first episode, and then after that, people shut up about that show. Unlike the pretty controversial but semi well received by the more normie types Fallout show, which I thought was kind of interesting.
People can only deal with bad content for so long until they realize that they're just not getting anything worthwhile.
Yep,
Ironically, that's kind of the plot of the Outer Worlds when you think about it. Like
elaborate.
the main plot of the Outer Worlds, which was not handled the best, is that the crops grown in the Halcyon colonies are not providing the correct nutrition for its citizens. So everyone's kind of starving to death in almost invisibly.
Mm-hmm.
They're they're getting sick from malnutrition. The common cold is basically a plague, and they have plenty of food, but they're just not getting the vitamins that they need from it.
That reminds me, actually, there's a subplot which does actually kind of tie into this on the very first colony you wind up on, with that one faction that's basically right across from like the first settlement, where they're living in greenhouses and basically like that in order to have good crops and whatnot, they just use the corpses of the dead for nutrients, and apparently that works okay.
Yeah, that is the point of that fact, and that is the point of that faction existing.
Yeah.
That is your introduction to the major problem facing the entire colony.
Yep.
Now, I know a lot of people are complaining have complained that like a famine can't be invisible, but I would argue that if you're in the shoes of someone who is in fact eating, and there's food on your table, you're eating it, but you still feel hungry, like yeah, you'd question a little bit, but as you continue to starve, your mental faculties really decline, and so you're just going to be really confused.
And I'd argue that to kind of bring real life into this, like with a lot of the really overly processed stuff, which lacks a lot of the nutrients, and that's pretty heavily and often consumed. There we go. That's places
Yeah,
where that's pretty common.
empty calories are a thing.
Yep,
We already know that empty calories are a thing, and you consume them, and then you can't really eat anymore, but you still feel hungry. You still feel like you want something, but you can't really stuff your belly anymore.
that's why I started buying not sponsored by the way, But I started buying some of those carnation powders to add it to my drinks. So like every morning with my cup of coffee, I pour a pouch of that carnation stuff because I buy the 30-pack boxes. And where that has so many nutrients, that's one of the ways I make sure I get all the nutrients I need in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that Outer Worlds could have handled its main plot better, considering just how many people missed that entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But it uh it it's okay, which is why I'm somewhat which is why the past couple episodes when we ended off, I say that I'm somewhat interested in seeing how Outer Worlds 2 turns out because there were a lot of fine ideas in the first one that just needed more time to be developed.
It would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Speaking of the
And
Outer
see if they
Worlds,
learn the correct lessons.
speaking of the Outer Worlds, what's your favorite interaction from that game?
I really like the character of Felix. Not uh, not necessarily because of anything he says, but because he Felix represents blind idealism. And it's very interesting seeing how he talks to the more grounded and somewhat jaded characters that exist everywhere else. I don't know if I could have any one specific interaction, but especially Felix's companion quest, where he speaks to the mentor who got him against the board so hard in the first place, and then learning that he's that his mentor is hired by the board to and to run his little revolution.
Controlled opposition, a theme that is even still pretty common in real life.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how he deals with realizing that yeah, not everything can happen as you wish it to. He's a very simple character, but he definitely represents what a lot of people who played the game are viewing it as. Uh, and a lot of people who played the game, I believe, see it far and viewed it in a greatly oversimplified manner of, oh, corporation bad. Well, you didn't really play through the Monarch portion, which, judging by achievement data, yeah, very few people made it out of the Veil
If we're
because,
talking, if we're sorry to cut you off here, if we're talking achievement data, there is a dungeon crawler called Grim Dawn, which I'm sure you may have heard of once or twice.
not really.
Oh wow, I'm kind of surprised. But for Grim Dawn, like it's a indie ARPG, so like you're Diablo like, and most of
Okay.
it's like achievements that like you can get. Like I only have like I don't know 30 some odd of the achievements, which where I don't really play it too often, but for the most part are all achievements that you get by just playing the game for a short amount of time. Like, but people seem to basically give up on that game really, really early. Like, even just a achievement you get by spending, I don't know, shit, I'd like to say half an hour, maybe an hour or two at most. Like, that is an achievement only 35% of the people who play this game actually have. And then for the one that's pretty early into the story, 44.9%. Just reaching level 35, because, it's a Diablo clone, but it's got levels and whatnot. Like a
Yeah.
lot of them do, but more just kind of where. Anyways, 38.5% people who play this or who buy the game and a lot of games just do not play the games. That's how you get like these really like annoying kind of normie takes. I do believe.
The only good thing about looking at Steam achievement data is that a lot of those achievements aren't necessarily tracked until someone launches the game. So someone who has purchased the game but never launched it, their achievement data is not put into those percentages. Someone who's launched the game now is there. So it's very useful to find the drop off between people who've launched the game, made it to a minimum point, and then made it to any other uh, major benchmark. But yeah, a lot of people get filtered by the veil in Outer Worlds, and I can't necessarily blame them because the presentation really leaves a lot to be desired.
Understatement. Understatement.
Yeah. Um,
If we're talking like going to talk franchises that fell victim to Flanderization really, really badly. I'm not sure if you've ever seen any of the shows, but I might as well bring it up. Power Rangers.
all right.
Like this series, it's pretty famous. Like the costumes you see for the characters and all those that fighting footage, that stuff that's all like actually loaned from the long-running Japanese tokusatsu series Super Sentai. But like
Yeah.
the plots and all that, entirely like American. Though some ideas in the like American show did actually end up winding with their way back over to Japan. But as the years got on, like the worse the Power Rangers shows got in terms of quality and writing, to the point where like it was very clear the writer was like, we need to keep cashing in on the Mighty Morphin nostalgia and everything we possibly can. So one of the most infamous, rest in peace, Jason David Frank, characters, in the show was Tommy Oliver. Like they'd have him come back for everything, including like one of their more recent products, despite the fact the ratings were going just basically down and down and down, was the Tommy Oliver character. But like the plots, like they'd get really oversimplified and turn into like just the most normie core. Oh hey, yeah, we're doing the thing now. No real explanation. It's unimportant, guys. Hey, look, jingling keys. Yes, you're paying attention to this
Yeah.
now. Meanwhile, Super Sentai, which I'm kind of on some of it, never lost its quality and just did I say stepped? Kept staying in like a mostly decent thing. But it's one of those things. Meanwhile, another thing, like with Power Rangers, there's another friggin' Mighty Morphin project coming up, and that's on top of the already shitty, failed Mighty Morphin movie that came out in 2017, I'd like to say. Or yeah, whenever that
All
movie
right.
titled Power Rangers came out. Really, like they tried for like a serious, grounded, gritty reboot, and for that one, as far as I know, like all the costumes and whatnot were totally unique to like this specific version, and like doing all the stuff really, really hurt it because they tried for the gritty, over serious crap and lost their roots entirely. Which is interesting because we went from kind of under like halfway decent, took itself semi seriously, but it was still okay, like with Mighty Morphin, to all of a sudden just low quality dreg. And it's a shame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, admittedly, I don't watch Power Rangers very often because, I'm an adult now. And, leave
Yeah.
Power Rangers for kids, go watch. If I want something that takes me seriously, I'll watch, Kamen Rider or Super Sentai. Because ironically, they never watered themselves down. They stayed for, all ages, as opposed to what Power Rangers did, which is just condescending crap. But I digress. Yeah, like
Yeah, kids are a lot uh more discerning about quality than people really give them credit for.
yeah, like for example, when I was a kid, I loved Power Rangers until about Mystic Force, I'd like to say. That one, and then, like, was when the series really started going down in quality. And then, not too much later, we got Power Rangers Jungle Fury, I'd like to say it was in 2008. And that one was really, really bad. I think there's like one or two maybe between that and Samurai, but I can't remember for the life of me. But then we had like 2012 Samurai, which was okay. Like they tried something different, and to its credit, it kind of worked, but at the same time, like the quality was still going really, really down. Like that was one I never finished, and that plus the really lowering quality of cartoons and whatnot around the time. This was like 2012, I'd like to say. Like was like made me really start looking for other things, and I've settled on, of all things, the Food Network around the time, and started watching Alton Brown with Good Eats, Chopped, Iron Chef, and shows like that. And it was an interesting thing, like just like talking about kids discerning quality. Like I was no longer entertained by that stuff, but Food Network had me absolutely hooked.
Yeah.
Did you have anything like that?
Uh, I mean, I kind of checked out of Cartoon Network for a while when everyone else did during that whole like live action spree that they were doing.
I was
That
actually
was
okay with that because like some of the shows like Destroy, Build, Destroy were,
that was basically the only one that I actually enjoyed.
yeah, that's fair.
Everything else was,
They also had pretty good music videos though.
huh,
Like yeah, they were running music videos around that time. Plus, they even had like a reboot of the Scooby Doo live action movies, and those actually weren't too bad. Like obviously it wasn't Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Like this was more, I guess, kind of high school era as opposed to them as adults now. Like those movies actually worked. Like there was Scooby Doo: The Mystery Begins, and then Curse of the Lake Monster. Both actually okay as far as live action Scooby Doo goes. Sadly forgotten
hmm,
because Cartoon Network is infamously terrible at handling its properties, but it is what it is. Then, not too
yeah.
long after, Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated happened, and that show existed.
Uh, that was that the one where Velma had like the bow in her hair?
Let me look that up. Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. Let's see. She had a headband, a blue headband. Oh no, you're talking.
Oh,
Uh, Daphne had the blue headband. You're right. Velma did have the bow. Sorry, it took me a second because I was like,
uh,
hold on a second.
okay, yeah, that was actually around when I started checking back into Cartoon
Yeah,
Network.
that was 2010. Had Matthew Lillard actually voicing Shaggy.
Dang.
Had
Yeah, yeah,
Greg
he
Delisle
was
voicing.
iconic enough in the role,
Oh yeah, no,
after
like
all.
Shaggy, like he really did well. I think like he still voices Shaggy in the halfway decent Scooby Doo stuff that comes out.
Yeah.
Like that was just like apparently that show was pretty well rated, but like as a kid, I don't know, maybe I was just like are suffering from cartoon fatigue or whatever, but I just never enjoyed Mystery Incorporated. Maybe I'll have to look into that one again.
Yeah, from what I remember, it was actually pretty decent.
I believe it.
I never actually finished it though. It and yeah, I don't know why I never finished it. I guess I just didn't. Hmm.
One of them things, I
Unfortunate.
suppose.
Yeah, I think it really is just I had other stuff going on that I couldn't just watch TV forever.
Yeah, no, that happens. We all grow up
Yeah.
at some point. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying
we
that like a
and then our time gets filled.
yeah. Like I'm not saying like we all grow up as oh we all have to put away our childish whims or whatever, and like just stop doing the things we enjoyed. But like in this case, when I say we all grow up, it's more life happens. Like we no longer get the time we had as kids, and it, you know, yeah,
Yeah, so it's very important to enjoy it while you can.
yeah. Like people make the joke, youth is wasted on the young, but that time gets over far quicker than you realize.
Oh yeah.
Hell, and like the older you get, the quicker you notice that time starts flying by. So like, to those of you guys who are here, like, I don't know, man. Like I've been out of contact with these folks and I haven't been checking in. Like, check in with them. Tell your loved ones, like, hey, yeah, still think about you. Still love you guys. Because again, like when they're gone, they're gone. That time goes by way quicker than you realize. Like I spent, like when I wasn't helping out with stuff like you know, building any like all different tasks around like that need to be done outside or even tasks that need to get done in the house or like for grocery shopping or whatever. For the most part, I was a complete shut-in as a kid and even basically my entire teenage life. And like then eventually 2020 happened, lost my grandma, and well, couldn't exactly go back and say, hey, love you and I miss you. Cause shit, like again, like when, that shit sneaks up on you guys.
I always wish that I had a little bit more time with my grandfather, but I I've actually started looking a lot like him.
I see.
So I kind of and I feel close to him by carrying on his likeness in a way.
My, what
Pretty
a
much the
big
reason
nose
that
you
I
have, Grandpa
decide to
Thatcher. So,
pretty much the reason I decided to grow my mustache
yeah, no, I get
because
it.
he always had one. So, and with it, we do look rather similar.
That's part of why I'm kind of like why I do try to grow out my facial hair until I can't. Uh, because like my grandpa's still alive. Like I try to have my facial hair grow out to like how he has his. Because I want to one day have a beard like he did at one point, like when it was at its best, back before he just couldn't anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
like he's still around now, but again, that time sneaks up on you.
and it's great to have a living reference.
Yeah. Now, granted, I get far more facial hair than he did, but I mean, still, I gotta try, right?
Oh, absolutely. I guess looping it back around to part of the start of the show as well. Um, I think that Baldur's Gate 3 actually really did a good job with understanding the evil races of like goblins and ogres.
Yep.
Because even though you can ally with them, they maintain their actual culture.
Yeah.
And especially because they are somewhat being brainwashed, but they don't feel outside of what they're supposed to be. Especially because the ogres themselves are not being controlled by the absolute. They're just they're just along for the ride, and they are upfront with their intentions.
which is nice.
And it is just a completely foreign culture to that of the goodly races, which is fine. That is what they should be. They it's not necessarily uh an evil because evil, but evil seen because of actual cultural differences,
Hmm.
but you can still recognize it as evil.
It's why I like when games actually give you the option to be evil and not like the really watered down, stupid ass, hey, we're barely different than the
You want to
side of
blow up a
good.
town or not?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd rather like that. Like I'd rather like an actual evil that's consequential, or something like in Baldur's Gate 3. Again, consequential and actually has like elaboration and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to what we get in games like Starfield, even. Which I'm not sure if you've ever played Starfield, but pro tip, don't. It sucks. Like I played that
I
shit day one.
I didn't buy it.
Like I had it through Game Pass because Game Pass was still reasonably priced at the time before Bethesda, or I say Bethesda, but like before Microsoft was like, "Hey, we hate having subscribers." But like I said, I had Game Pass at the time because again, it was reasonably priced, and like I was like, okay, new Bethesda game. Normally Bethesda's halfway decent, but like, doesn't matter which NPC you have, you are getting constantly nagged, and literally all of your decisions, both good and bad, are entirely inconsequential and don't mean anything. And again, you got your constant companions nagging at you, and that's it. Like, none of it matters, and you get constantly nagged if you step out of line and don't fill the narrative they want you to fill. And it's just plain
Oh,
annoying.
goody.
Yeah. Like, I don't recommend Starfield to anyone, because even if it weren't for, like, what I just mentioned, there's a pretty major problem, which, if you've ever played a Bethesda game, you know that Bethesda's usually halfway decent with melee combat, right?
Not really.
I mean, like, compared to, like, your standard, like, shitty dev that's not making a game dedicated to melee, like, when it comes to melee games. Like, I mean, like for like a first person shitty, like one of those kinds of things, first person melee.
Honestly, I'm just gonna have to disagree on that.
Fair
I
enough.
and I think that Bethesda's melee tends to feel weightless.
Well, anyways, it's far worse in Starfield. Like melee is literally unusable. Like sure, you can, but it is the most worthless combat that does basically no damage even playing on the easiest mode.
Ugh.
And instead of feeling weightless, like it feels like your character is suffering from cerebral palsy or some other
Oh,
kind of
goody.
disease. And essentially, all the lessons they had from the previous games, yeah, no, that's all gone now. Like it's far worse, and like you're basically forced to use guns or your shitty magical abilities. Like they don't call it magic, but it's magic. And
You need to use your dragon shouts.
yeah, basically, except it's more, hey, you gotta use what the artifacts gave you and traverse these empty dead worlds. Oh, you don't want to? Fuck you, you're doing it anyways. Like, oh hey, check it out, our new game plus, and where like you can just fast forward and be like, oh hey, I know where all the artifacts are. Take me to here, here, and here now. You can do that, but the new game plus doesn't even matter because like sure there are supposedly like some cool scenarios or whatever, but it doesn't matter because you can just bypass it all and be like, oh hey, this is where this thing is, let's just go here and bypass this entirely because I want my abilities slightly upgraded. It's like they really dropped the ball with that game.
I'm
And it
tired of
is,
New Game Plus.
yeah, you and me both.
Just as a concept, I don't want it anymore.
Unironically, like that's another reason why I hold massive enmity towards From Software. Because From Software were the ones who really popularized New Game Plus with Dark Souls. And, well, you saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, Miyazaki-san, if you're listening to this, but honestly, I, like, what were you thinking, man?
Like the reward for beating the game should just be the knowledge of how to beat it again.
That or
Not
alternatively, something like some games do, where you can just go and finish up your side quests or whatever, and then just start again with an entirely different play style, but not like in a new game plus way, but just a whole new character, or even like
some
exclusive
games
post game
some games
content.
can be fine with tie up any loose ends, but other games really do well from a hard ending.
Oh, fully agreed. But like I mean, like for the ones that do not have the hard endings, like if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I.e., not your Fallout games. Those should just end.
Agreed.
And I think that's really part of the problem that existed with Fallout 4 as well, where it just didn't end once the game was over.
Mm-hmm.
To Yeah, so they didn't really have to write any actual endings for it.
Well, yeah, if they had to write the actual endings, then they would have actually had to not half-ass the rest of the game, and we can't have that.
Yeah, exactly. They would have had to whole-ass the game.
Yeah, and we can't have that. They're here to do the bare minimum, and we're supposed to lap that shit up, and even in some cases, with mods, finish and fix their games for them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say this as a long-time Bethesda fan, too.
If a game needs mods to be good, it's not good.
Exactly, and that's why I say Skyrim is one of the worst pieces of fantasy fiction to ever come out. And also just because the game fucking sucks, but that's a whole
Yeah,
other thing.
but
Like,
it sold a more billion copies.
that's cool. So did most of the Avengers films, and you don't hear people talking about anything post the first one, other than like, oh wow, look at how shitty this is now.
People generally speak positively until Infinity War.
And meanwhile,
Infinity War is when it started to get contentious. Endgame is when it really started to break.
see, interesting, because like what I hear is that first Avengers, fantastic. Age of Ultron, complete hot garbage. And then on top of that, what came out? Civil War. Oh, that's Captain America, but it was basically another Avengers movie. Fucking garbage. Uh, then Infinity War, controversial but still okay. Endgame, really bad.
Hmm.
Like that's
Yeah,
what
a
I
lot of
hear.
people. And there's two camps uh, where people generally like up to Infinity War, and then really dislike Endgame, and then there are people who thought that it was already like wavering long before.
Yeah.
Which, yes, it absolutely was wavering here and there, but I think that they still had pretty strong movies up until Infinity War.
See, that's interesting because like here's my like what I think. Captain America, pretty good. Hulk, pretty good. Iron Man, Iron Man 2, pretty good. Avengers, pretty good. Thor sucked. There's other than like the one that was more quote unquote normie core Ragnarok, the Thor movies were all shitty. Then Captain America, whatever the hell, Winter Soldier, really good. Iron Man 3, pretty good. Then after that, there was what?
You
Ant-Man?
actually liked Iron Man 3. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, I actually quite liked Iron Man 3. Then, what was it? Like Ant-Man, or was that? Oh, you know, we have Age of Ultron still. So Age of Ultron, I thought was really fucking terrible. Then we had, after that, I think Ant-Man. That was okay. I wouldn't call it great, but I wouldn't call it terrible by any means. Then we had there was other stuff too, but what were the other movies prior to Civil War? Or was it just Civil War next?
I think it might have just been Civil War next,
That movie was
because Black
really,
Panther didn't get his solo movie until after.
yeah, like Black Panther was after Ragnarok, and yeah, I thought Captain America Civil War was really, really terrible. Like I would actually call it borderline unwatchable because I actually rented that from the Red Box at the time. And no, I thought it was just bad. And then not too long after
Fascinating.
that, we had Ragnarok, which again I thought was okay. Black Panther I thought was pretty good at the time. Then we had was there anything after those like before Infinity War?
Homecoming.
Homecoming. That I really did not like, and that kind of cemented me for thinking Tom Holland was a terrible Spider-Man. Like I was already not a fan with how he was in Civil War, but then in
Yeah.
Homecoming, I thought it was really bad. And then with the way they did an about face for the Iron Man character, I was figuring we were gonna see like Secret Invasion in between, Infinity War and everything else. Like I was really expecting to see Secret Invasion, and then we got the shitty series much later. But with how out of character everyone was acting, I was like, oh shit, we finally got scrolls. Nope. And then we got Infinity
No, we
War.
got scrolls with frickin' Captain Marvel in between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, I thought Infinity War was pretty decent. Then Captain Marvel I thought was pretty dull and forgettable, especially with that really bad color palette the movie had. Like, wow,
Yeah.
cool, 90s nostalgia baiting, yippee. Yeah, you could probably hear my scoff
Yeah.
from here. Um,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, and then we got Endgame, which I'm mixed on. On one hand, like there were some actually decent moments, but then we got confirmed that, oh hey, yeah, Team Cap fucking sucks. As if we didn't already know from Civil War and how stupid the actions of Team Cap already had been up to that point, especially in Age of Ultron. And then, like I said, Endgame, and then the good character is basically gone now. Then there was what, the in between shows with Loki, which was okay. Then there was What If, which was okay. Then we had um Scarlet Witch's show, which I don't even care about the name for, but pretty bad. Then we had Hawkeye's show, probably massively out of order, but still terrible. And then we had a couple of movies like Multiverse of Madness I thought was okay. No Way Home relied far too much on the nostalgia baiting to stand upon its own 2 feet. And even had it not been for that, pretty terrible movie because of Far From Home, which was okay, but where consequences got basically essentially nullified. It's not like it really matters one way or another.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your ratings?
I I actually quite enjoyed Age of Ultron. I thought it was better than the first Avengers movie, which puts me in that awkward camp.
Hmm.
um First Thor was all right, if a bit basic, but definitely second one was nothing. Third one was very mixed. In my mind,
Yeah,
when it wanted to be serious, it was. I thought it was really good, but so much of the uh, so much of the plot with and the big bulk of the movie was just nothing.
yeah.
And Taika Waititi can do pretty good comedies. I personally really enjoyed What We Do in the Shadows.
I really haven't seen
Uh,
too much of Taika Waititi's library of film, if I'm being honest with
yeah,
you.
the movie What We Do in the Shadows and the TV show which followed, I think are pretty good. Actually, I'm kind of behind on the TV show, so I could have been, so I could be wrong now.
I'll have to look into
But
them.
from what I saw of it, I enjoyed it. Uh, but he just was not the right pick to continue Thor.
Agree- Agreed, but at the same time, with how terrible Thor and the Dark World were, I couldn't see them doing worse.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of a shame
There
too,
really
because like
wasn't.
some of Marvel
There really
comics,
wasn't a way down.
for real, because like it's a shame because Marvel comics, like Thor and Loki and those, fantastic characters with pretty good writing, depending on the writer. But the movies, fuck no.
Yeah, and the show Loki, I really did not care for. Like, I was it. It's one of those movies where like I was fine with it at first, and then as it sat with me, it just turned sour. You
Makes
know,
sense, yeah. Sorry, my voice keeps trying to
I
give out
I,
on me.
I will not lie. I am indeed very much susceptible to the hype, as we all are at some points.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Loki at first I was just eating up the hype, and then as it continued, I was just like, there really isn't anything here, and this is not this is not the same Loki that experienced the development. This is Avengers 1 Loki.
Yep.
He is a very different character. It would be interesting uh to see a version of Loki where he did where he had that like cut development and split into a new version, because you are kind of the product of all your experiences. But they just decided to say nope, he watched a video of his life and now he basically has all the same experiences as before.
Which is so stupid.
Yeah, I didn't like it. They,
Yeah,
they should have
understandable.
come up with some other reason to make him have any sort of the similar development that he got around the end, but I no.
What they should have done
And
is, like,
then
remember the chest full of time stones?
ooh,
They should have used that as the
all
plot
right.
device and had that so that way, like, all of a sudden, development, because he just happened to come across, even if it was all duplicates, like it, physical, physical ingots of the actual components to life. Like, tell me that would not have made it a lot better. Like, if they would have handled that well.
I'm not entirely sure where you went with that at the
Okay,
end.
so the time stone, like that's, one of the building blocks of life, the universe, and everything in Marvel. One of the Infinity
Yeah.
Stones. And Doctor Strange, like how he could use it to see all the time, all the timelines and whatnot. You with me so far?
Oh, okay. So like as he picks them up, he kind of experiences time of himself throughout whatever universe they're supposed to be from.
Yes, exactly. Something like that.
Okay.
See,
That
yeah,
yeah, that sort of replacing the watch a movie of your life, it it still runs into the same problem, but it's a little bit more believable. And
yeah.
ultimately, presentation is the key. How you explain something happening, that is what changes how much I can buy into it.
Like going back to the time stones, like where you said, from different universes. Like I actually wouldn't mind seeing seeing like actual ramifications for the even the destruction of the Infinity Stones because wasn't that like in supposed to have like actual major consequences rather than oh yeah no they're destroyed it's fine now.
Yeah, that's what the ancient one said in Endgame. Like, oh yeah, without the Infinity Stones, whatever they're supposed to govern fall and really has bad stuff happen to it. It's like, okay,
Yeah, like they should have
well,
followed that up.
and I guess their justification is that it's not necessarily that the Infinity Stones don't exist. It's that they're disincorporated, more or less. So they still physically exist within the universe, but they're just not put together.
Which is stupid. Like if you're gonna write that oh hey this has
I
ramifications, have
I
ramifications.
somewhat disagree because of Thor the Dark World, because the ether is the reality stone, and that was kind of disincorporated for a long time.
Kind of, but at the same time, and like there's a difference between disincorporated and destroyed. Like as they showed in Endgame, these stones were no longer discorporated; they were destroyed. But instead, they decided to retcon that later on, which is a choice, but basically invalidates the whole thing in Endgame.
I this is definitely just full of cope, but that's why I'm somewhat justifying it because of Thanos' line in Endgame of gone reduced to atoms. It's not I, I'm counting that as disincorporated. So
Okay,
like
buddy.
they're still around. It's just going to be nearly impossible for anyone to collect them again.
How much money did Kevin Feige just put under your door for that one?
Not nearly enough, let me tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. I still can't believe that he's trying to pass off the movie universe, Earth 1999 now, as Earth 616, the main comic continuity.
Yeah, that little argument between Sony and Disney is pretty funny.
Not just that, but like you see the argument actually between the Kamala Khan actress and like Kevin Feige, where she was like, "No, this is Earth 1999, and Kevin just gave me the sad look in her words, even.
Oof.
Yeah, it was funny, if I'm honest. Like I was just holy shit, no wonder this franchise was going down the toilet, but also and he gave her a sad look. Oh man.
Oof.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I want it to be the recognizable one.
Yup. Let me just play world's smallest violin for that.
Yeah, You can't overwrite 616.
I mean, technically you can if like I want to do some cope here. About I think it was like I don't know 7 or 8 years ago. May have been less, may have been more. My concept of time has been fucked since quarantine. Um, like there was in the actual Marvel comics that like actually covered a mutant whose whole power affected continuity and all that. Like this is what they used to justify their shifting timelines and whatnot. And this
Hmm.
one mutant had been living behind the scenes, constantly changing everything, including like all the timeline first 616, including like they use this mutant female to justify that like why Nick Fury is black now. Like, did you know Nick Fury used to be white? She even asked to the male character, who I guess was supposed to represent the audience or some shit. Like, yeah, I'm constantly changing the timeline, blah 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 blah. It's like that's like I'm surprised like they're not using that as an excuse, like to kind of do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they have the stuff right there. They can, but they don't actually read their source material.
No, they don't. But that friggin' mutant ass pull for in the comics was a choice. Like it
Certainly
yeah,
can be called one.
yeah, that it can. Much like Venomverse, if you've read the comics.
Uh, I wasn't really a Venom reader.
I wasn't a Venom reader either, but I had just finished Spider-Verse at the time. I was like, there's something called Venomverse, huh? Might as well check this out. And basically, it
All
was
right.
like Spider-Verse, except instead of Spider-Man, it was different hosts of Venom. So we saw Deadpool as Venom, we saw Wolverine and quite a few others, and then there was this whole alien thing called anti-venoms, which turned people, I believe, into like toxins or some shit if they happen to possess a venom symbiote. And it was
Sorry, one moment.
no problem. It was full of ass pulls though. Like there's been just so many.
Y-
Sorry, you
Yeah,
first.
as I recall, in like the main comic continuity, Anti-Venom was supposed to be created when Mr. Negative interfered with Venom.
Yeah, it was a whole weird thing because like if I remember, like I even maybe like I will admit because it's been years. Like I may be misremembering this alien name. Let me actually look that up. Venomverse, the 2017 comic book limited series. Let's see. Wikipedia Venomverse. Let's see. It had all different ones. In a desperate attempt to survive, Doctor Strange used his magic to teleport various venomized heroes from the dimension to his own. With his new allies from across the universe, a resistance was created to fight against the Poisons. Apologies, the Poisons, an alien species
Hmm.
capable of assimilating symbiotes and their hosts. The Resistance now struggles to stop the Hive in their onslaught. Like I said, it was full of ass pulls. It was a very interesting comic series, but there was a lot of ass pulls. It even had those some tie-ins with Edge of Venomverse, Venomverse War Stories, and at least one issue of Monsters Unleashed. As far as a more
Anytime I hear Monsters Unleashed, I just think of the frickin' Scooby-Doo movie.
same, but like no, in this case, like it was the I guess Venom answer to Spider-Verse essentially. But like as far as the newer Marvel comics go, it could have been worse. But that's not exactly a ringing endorsement by any means.
No, like things can always get worse.
Yeah, especially considering X-Men Blue, which was coming out around the same time, if you remember that one.
I wasn't really an X-Man reader.
I'm not either, but I used to love the X-Men comics. So when I got, notification that, oh hey, we've got a new X-Men storyline thing coming out, I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And it, it existed. It had
Oh,
a whole time
that's
travel plot.
that's certainly an endorsement.
Yeah, basically, like a younger version of the X-Men come to the modern time, and there's a whole plot around it. I don't even remember it all that well because I was just looking at this and going, "This is what I'm paying for the Marvel Unlimited subscription for, huh? This. Fuck that. I'll just read Marvel Zombies instead."
I it's strange how I always just hear better things about Marvel Zombies than like anything else.
Marvel Zombies is pretty shitty. Don't buy into the hype. It's not great. It's like I know a lot of people will probably just be at my throats for that, but no, Marvel Zombies sucks. Like it's got some good ideas, but at the end of the day, it's pretty awful despite being memorable. And it even apparently had at least one tie-in from entirely other properties, like unrelated to Marvel. And yet still friggin' like Marvel Zombies was still awful. Like I don't get why it has the hype it has. And I'm talking like both the original Marvel Zombies plus the spin-offs and whatnot. Marvel Zombies is bad despite people's hype. Then
It
again,
might just be it might just be dramatically lowered standards.
that would not surprise me. Like, I'm sorry to anyone who's like, really, you're gonna sit here and tell me Marvel Zombies is terrible? And yeah, I absolutely will. That, like, if you want actually half good superhero anything nowadays, like, you might want to look into Worm. Don't know if you've read that one. It's not Marvel or DC, but it is its own kind of superhero thing. And it's actually like a pretty good book, as is the sequel. It's like online, I believe. Like you can actually find that, and like if you want, I can send it to you after stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow, it's actually got its own WordPress, so you can read it. Nice.
Ah,
Yeah, it first came out back in 2011. Oh, it was a web serial actually. There you go. If you want to read it.
all right. I'll look into it. Of course, not right away, but you know.
Yeah, no problem. And speaking of the sequel, there you go. Yeah, they don't call their superheroes, by the way, like superhumans. They call them parahumans.
Okay, so a little different from the meta-human thing.
Yes, entirely different because even the way superpowers like happen in this thing, it is entirely different. Like there's a whole different, not just method like to getting the powers, but like there's also an entirely different like thing entirely to it. Like there's like even the heroes and everything. Like it's pretty horrifying in a lot of ways, but it's also just pretty good. Like it's been a couple years since I sat down and read Worm, as well as its sequel. Did I say sequel? Sequel
Yeah,
Worm. Did I say Worm again? Fuck. I'm just batting 1,000. Like it's sequel Ward, but it is still really, really good. I'm really not selling it too well, but I swear, guys, it's good, guys. I'm not just talking out of my ass here.
sure you're not.
No, I do enough of that during stream time. I try not to do it during podcast time.
Fair enough. Yeah, it can be difficult to to properly explain things that you like.
Especially if you suffer from brain damage like I do.
My mouth tastes like teeth.
Funny you mentioned tea actually, because I'm drinking some right now.
Teeth.
Oh, teeth. Okay.
Yeah. I'm I'm trying to think of next thing to say.
What kind of fiction do you really enjoy that you've been looking into and wouldn't mind others hearing about?
Um, oh, you know what? I read the latest Dragonlance trilogy,
Okay.
and it has good and bad. Um, so a summary of the latest Dragonlance trilogy. Uh, it takes place once again right after the War of the Lance. Hooray! The only time in which anything fucking happens in Dragonlance. Uh, a um a girl grows up in one of the keeps that provided soldiers to help the War of the Lance. Her father dies alongside Sturm Brightblade, one of the main characters from the original Dragonlance party. And afterwards, she essentially gets cheated out of her inheritance because, uh, as a woman, she is not normally in the line of succession, right? That that's just the way the Knights of Solamnia operate. Everyone knew that this girl was supposed to be receiving it, and in fact, paperwork was drafted up specifically to say, "Hey, she is supposed to receive the inheritance upon her father's death, rather than the next male heir, which would have to go back up the family tree." However, uh, her keep was attacked, fires happened, and all that paperwork got destroyed.
Conveniently.
Still, I, I mean, you know what? Sieges happen. A lot of damage was done to the keep.
Yeah. I just meant, like,
But,
conveniently
you
for
know,
plot's sake. I mean,
oh, absolutely, conveniently for plot's sake. But, everyone still knew, hey, this was the wishes of the guy before he died, so we're still going to respect it even though the paperwork is destroyed. Until, of course, the next male heir comes in and is like, hey, I'm the one who has the rightful claim. And by all legalism in Solamnia, he is right. But he only is making the claim because his new wife is a bit of a gold digger and wants all that stuff. He didn't really care, but she forces the issue. His wife forces the issue. So now, cheated out of her inheritance, uh, with n- with very little left in the world, she doesn't really know what to do. So she gets tricked by this one guy to locate the gray gem many, many years earlier than it's even supposed to be found, because the gray gem was already found and broken in Dragons of a Summer Flame, but that takes place in the future of this book. So she's tricked in order to go get the gray gem and the device of time journeying to bring the gray gem back in time, back to back to the point of the original book, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, so that she can give a potion of cowardice to Sturm so that he won't make his final stand and her dad will hopefully come home instead.
okay.
I, I let me know if I'm losing you because like
You're not.
to
I'm not at
understand this
all.
book, you need to read like 30 other books.
Ah, interesting. So it's one of those major time investments then.
Yeah, you need to read pretty much every other Dragonlance book in existence in order to actually understand what's going on in this trilogy, even though it happens before and after a lot of them, because there's a surprising amount of time travel in Dragonlance. It happens all the time.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so That plan fails. She brings and she accidentally brings Sturm and Raceland way into the past when the Dragon Lances were originally supposed to be given out thousands of years ago. And for some reason, this makes Raceland and Sturm remember all of the events that happened to them in all the other books.
I see.
So I so Raceland and Sturm are supposed to be dead in the latest in like the furthest portion of the timeline, so they remember their deaths and everything that led up to it. Eh, It's it's weird. It's really weird. And they accidentally make it so that the original Dragonlances were never given out, and uh, the Dark uh, the Dark Queen Takesis wins that war. And so then it goes back to the same point in time as the original book for Dragons of Autumn Twilight, except now it's as if Solamnia is on the back foot and Takesis is on top.
I see.
But they don't really spend very much time there. They, they kind of just go right back in time as soon as they can and then fix things to happen as they should have. And and then everything basically gets undone. So books 2 and 3 are essentially undoing the mistake that happened in book 1.
That is a choice.
And other than the gods, only 3 characters remember the events that happened. Uh, Tasselhoff Burfoot, the Kender, who's part of the original uh, party, because he was there and experienced all of it, but he's also a special Kender who kind of somewhat exists outside of time, it seems. And then the main character, Destina, because she was actually participating in all of this, and a monk who also was in the party that I didn't really mention because he doesn't really do anything of note, but it he falls in love with Destina, of course, and they get married at the end and get the castle back because uh there was a bronze or brass, one of the two, a dragon living just outside of her castle who accidentally had a very valuable artifact that he sold in order to buy the castle back and then gift it to Destina.
Okay.
And also because of their actions way in the past, uh, Solamnic law ended up changing to allow women to become knights.
That seems kind of like, I'm gonna interrupt you here, but this kind of seems like a lot of ass pulling and really poor writing. Like, I'm not trying to be rude here, but it just does not sound very well written at all. Like, if this just the synopsis, like as it is, I've read fan fiction better than this trilogy.
I will say that Dragonlance has always kind of had a problem of ass pulls. Like it's kind of ass pulls the campaign setting. This one especially felt like it, and I don't really blame Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss either because they were fighting with WotC while this trilogy was being published. It feels like WotC was requiring them to change the campaign setting. And so like they're like, okay, well, we'll just do the best that we can with this, but I don't think anyone's really going to be happy with it. The only thing the only thing of consequence that changes throughout the entire trilogy is, oh yeah, now women can be knights of Solamnia.
Amazing.
That is the one change that happens throughout the entire trilogy.
I see. That's a
And like
choice.
there's supposed to be this huge battle between the gods as Takesis tries to maintain the timeline where she wins, but they don't even finish that because they correct the timeline way in the past, so she is distracted in the future and misses her opportunity to maintain the past.
That sounds awful.
The gods in Dragonlance kind of exist throughout all time at the same time, but they can only be in one spot. It, okay, the gods exist in linear time, but they can appear at any point in time wherever. So their linear is different from the world's linear.
You're not really selling me this trilogy, dude. If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I promise you the way in which it's written is about as good as it can be, but the actual end results of it is nonsense.
Okay.
Which is just like it's part of that corporate mandate where WotC wants campaign settings to reflect modern day sensibilities.
That's stupid. Like I'm not gonna be polite about
Yeah.
it. That's stupid.
Yeah, it the trilogy was just okay, but it just is dripping with what feels like corporate meddling, wanting it to be pushed in a specific direction.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I was so excited when I started reading the trilogy too.
Was by the sounds.
It like the first book ends once they go way back into the past and it's like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. And then the second one is like, oh, they're just undoing their goal is just undo all of this. And then the ending is like, oh yeah, they're just undoing everything. So it the entire trilogy is, oh no, we fucked up the status quo, let's get right back to the status quo.
My, what a surprise.
Oh, which kind of makes sense considering that it happens in between a lot of books. So you can't really change that much because then other books that were written previously stop making sense.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, why not just have a whole new setting for it, like in the future or whatever?
They already did the future setting way I, way off in the future. Tasselhoff, oh man, at the end of one of the trilogies, Tasselhoff just vanishes. His body is nowhere to be found, and also the device of time journeying is missing. And you just have no idea what happened until later. There's another trilogy where it's like, oh no, he actually appeared in the future, and here's all the things that happened with that.
Was there anything interesting to that at all? Because it kind of sounds extremely uninteresting.
It, it was actually rather interesting because uh, all of the gods were just missing, and
Missing?
even the heavens above them looked different. The Kryn, the setting of Dragonlance, is supposed to have 3 moons, but this new area had only one single pale moon. Magic worked entirely differently. Paladins and clerics lost all their powers because the gods were just missing.
Interesting.
It it was sort of like a weird apocalyptic version of it, with everyone just trying to figure out how to get on. And at this point, they kind of did figure it out. It had been quite a long time,
I see.
but then it was the gods slowly figuring out. Oh yeah, by the way, the entire planet was stolen and moved to another part of space, so we actually had no idea where it was for the longest time.
We're gonna take this town and push it over that. Sorry.
Pretty much, yeah.
But okay.
It yeah, it was an interesting trilogy. It's just the newest trilogy of Dragonlance feels wrong.
I see.
Yeah.
Any interesting plans coming up for a reading or whatever?
Uh, I want to read the Firefly books. I have them on my shelf.
Firefly like the sci-fi or Firefly like the DC character?
The sci-fi.
Okay.
That was actually a really good show.
Yeah, it was. It is a shame that it never got finished except for the movie continuation. And I guess the books
Yeah.
that I didn't know existed until right now.
Oh yeah, I have like 5 books
Nice.
from it on my shelf. I haven't read them yet, so I don't know if they're any good. I guess I'll have to let you know.
Fair enough.
Uh, but yeah, the show and the movie were well, the show really good. The movie was all right. I just I just really don't like the psychic girl as a character.
You talking River?
I think so. The doctor's sister,
Yeah,
right?
River. Yeah.
Yeah. I just I just do not care for her character.
Her character could have been better.
Yeah. And I think that's that's definitely why I don't care for the movie nearly as much as I might otherwise because of because of her magical final stand
Magical final
against
stand? That's a
against
descriptor.
all of the Reavers in the movie.
Oh, yeah. No, I see what you mean now. I was like, magical final stand. That is certainly a description. And then, yeah, no. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Took me a second for that, like, to parse that through my head.
Yeah, it would have been something if she'd actually sacrificed herself.
Come on, dude. We can't
And
have that. They needed marketability.
yeah, and by all means, have her take out a bunch of the Reavers, but take out all of them and still be standing at the end. I can't I can't justify that.
Yep.
She's too powerful.
Put her down. No, but for real though, you'd think with all that they would have at least tried. Like, to have a, like there's a possibility she's corruptible. Let's just, nip that threat in the bud kind of thing. Like, actually, that would probably gone against the characters entirely. But, would have been an interesting plot point at least.
I mean, that's what Jane wanted to do.
Yeah, Jane was the only friggin' sensible character when it came to things. Hero Canton, like, come on, man. Jane deserved better. Give Adam Baldwin better roles, damn it.
And I understand his attempted betrayal, and Captain Reynolds was 100% right to threaten to jettison him as well because he was undermining his authority
Yep.
and he betrayed the captain. But like his motivations made sense.
That they
E-
did.
Every single character other than River just felt absolutely so tightly written that you could so easily understand their motivations.
Agreed.
River was just a plot device for the longest time. I don't think she ever became a character, really.
She never did, no.
Yeah. And it's so disappointing.
Unfortunately, that is the Joss Whedon curse. 'Cause you kind of see similar in some of his other stuff from around the same time as well. Like within that whole kind of like decade time frame going from Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Firefly and Serenity. Like you kind of see very similar in his writing. Like with how uses characters more just as plot device instead of actually writing characters for some of the things.
Yeah, but you know what? Considering how many characters there were in Firefly, the fact that only one of them feels like a plot device and all the others feel like people, I think that's a pretty good track record.
Agreed. Fully agreed.
And and even given that, how how absolutely tight everything else feels, you know what? I'll deal with a single plot device because the rest of the show was just that good.
It's a shame he apparently took all the wrong lessons with his later writing.
Yeah, and it's always people who just they accidentally write something really good and then have no idea how to continue it.
Yep, they bottle lightning, and then everything after that is basically just throwing copper, so to speak.
Yeah.
Speaking of, going back to the superhero subject, what are your thoughts on the different Batman films? Live action.
You know, I haven't actually seen anything after and including the Dark Knight trilogy.
Wait, so you're telling me you missed out on Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises?
Yep.
How, dude? Those were basically a cultural phenomena.
You know, I'll be honest, I was just never really that into Batman or DC in general.
I was never like all that much of a DC guy. Like I saw Smallville, and I saw the Batman movies because like you could get those really friggin' cheap around here because they were so popular. So like I could even get those ones pretty much brand new for a good price. So like I watched basically every Batman movie because they would also air on like around Halloween on some of the different channels like ABC Family, if you remember that one. And,
All
and
right.
so like yeah, like I'd see like actually it wasn't until very recently like I saw the shitty 1960s Batman movie, but like I saw Batman played by Val Kilmer. I saw the other Batman from around that time. I don't remember who the hell played him and shit, man. But there was also George Clooney Batman. Saw that one. Saw friggin' the Dark Knight trilogy. Saw Batfleck, and I saw Robert Pattinson's Batman, and it was like kind of a very interesting wave in quality. Started out poorly with Adam West's Batman movie, and then we ended, and this is going to be a very controversial take, pretty poorly with Robert Pattinson's Batman. Like, I tried liking that movie, but man, it just did not grab me. And the audio mixing was really, really terrible too.
Audio mixing is a lost art. It
It's
feels.
only a lost art in the West, actually. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off here, but
Oh, absolutely.
it's only a lost art in the West. In the East, it is still alive, well, and thriving.
Hmm.
It is just a lost art here in the West, much like game optimization and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. So the most recent live action Batman movie that I saw, I think, is Batman and Robin.
If that was George
The one with
Clooney, then
like
yeah. Bat nipples?
the one with the bat nipples.
Yeah, that's Clooney.
that is that is actually the most recent live action Batman movie I've seen.
I mean, like, it's. Like, people talk shit about it, but honestly, for as goofy as it was, I'd argue that one was one of the most actually comic accurate Batman movies we had, and still do have.
Credit card.
Like, you laugh, but genuinely, that was one of the most, like, before they decided to make it more gritty and grounded in the comics, like, one of the most comic accurate Batman movies we had.
Hey, I liked the movie.
Oh, yeah, no, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to just go for the Doug Walker bad credit card, but I I liked I liked the movie,
It had heart. It had heart.
which is more than you can say for a lot of things these days.
Especially the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. Like, wow, cool, we got a good aesthetic. Wow, cool, we got John. Actually, nah. He's done so much to actually separate himself from Twilight, it's actually not fair to kind of throw him in that circle. Or in that hole, I mean. But we got,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like, while I'm sure Robert Pattinson tried and, like, was working with what he was given, it just did not feel like a good Batman film at all to me. Then again,
All
Batman
right,
really
so it's less
hasn't.
of a Jared Leto situation,
No, no.
and
More of a terrible writing situation.
yeah,
Because Pattinson is actually a very good actor. Like, despite the fact we all, that, like, he's very much regrets his role in Twilight. Again, he was working with what he had. Dude is like a really good actor that just gets kind of saddled with shitty scripts.
yeah. I was gonna say uh, rather than Jared Leto, he's more of oh shit, who am I? I lost my train of thought. No. I'm thinking of the actor. Nope, I lost it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I lost it. Oops.
It happens.
Yeah, if it comes back to me, I'll let you know.
Like, there's been kind of, like, if we're talking actors that kind of, like, do, like, good jobs but get, like, kind of shitty roles, or just have a very wild and varied, like, movie, career. Hey, hold on. A Talking Cat cast. I can't believe I'm looking up a shitty indie film just to find a very specific actor. Eric Roberts. I'm not sure if you remember him.
What has he done?
Uh, let's see. Human Centipede, Human Centipede 3. I think he also did Human Centipede 2. He's done a lot of indie stuff. Like, let me actually pull up his IMDb here real quick. I think he even did, like, hold on. Let's see. He was in a movie called Violet, a movie called 3, Kung Fu Slayers, something called Gateway to the West, which was apparently pretty bad. Uh, and is there no way to sort this by? No, of course you can't sort it by popularity. But he's even produced and whatnot, I guess. But he's done all sorts of stuff, including like really low budget, low quality indie section, like really really highbrow stuff. He's even been in music videos. Like if you've like like heard that one song everyone knows by The Killers. Oh hell, like I know the song name. Hold on, The Killers music. Mr. Brightside. If you've heard that song,
Oh, okay.
he was actually in the music video for that.
All right.
He's also been in, like I said, The Dark Knight, Runaway Train, The Pope of Greenwich Village, Best of the Best. Hell, in The Dark Knight, he played Sal Maroni. He's also even done like TV shows and whatnot. Like the dude is one of those actors who, I don't know if a renaissance man is quite the right term, but he's been in over 735 different productions, which apparently means he's the fourth most prolific English speaking actor on screen.
Neat.
Yeah. Well, I went way off on a tangent, huh?
A little bit, but what you gonna do, right?
Yeah. Just trying to figure out like a good comparison, and then I was like, oh hey, this guy's neat. You ever watch Human Centipede?
No. Adam
Understandable.
Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
That
Oh, yeah, actually.
he's actually a really good actor who who just always participates in the worst movies.
Have you seen The Cobbler?
Is that like the one good movie that he's actually been in?
No, that's Blood
And then
Diamond.
okay.
But no, The Cobbler is, I think it's supposed to be semi-indie, but he plays a cobbler who has the power to quote unquote step into other people's shoes. Except in this case, it's quite literal. So he puts on their shoes and he actually can become the person because of this, like the machine he uses for cobbling. But it's not played as a comedy. Like it's actually, or I mean, I don't really think it is, but like it's played pretty seriously. It was actually like a
All right.
pretty decent film. It's just not considered a good film, far as I'm aware, by people, which is a shame because it's one of his best roles alongside Blood Diamond and whatnot.
Hmm.
Or Blood Diamonds, I think the movie is. Hold on. Hold on. Blood Diamonds movie. Yeah, I don't think that's the right one because I see Leo DiCaprio. Hold on. Adam Sandler Blood Diamond movie. Uncut Gems, that's what I was thinking.
Mm.
Which is the one where like Adam Sandler is a jeweler and a gambling addict in New York City's Diamond District. Like Uncut Gems was pretty popular. Like we're talking 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 91% Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And it's got
Yeah, from what I
Adam's.
heard, like he has like one insanely good movie, and then the rest of his catalog is just basically trash.
Like people say it's trash, but like again, it's all stuff with heart that's pretty actually decently made. Like people talk shit about
Huh.
Happy Gilmore, 51st Dates, and stuff like that. What the fuck are all these noises tonight? Apologies, there's just been a lot of weird noises going on in the background.
Hmm.
Sorry, it's just enough that's
Yeah, you know
really
what?
thrown me off.
Regardless of the quality of the overall movie, uh, Adam Sandler is not like the reason that the movies are bad.
Exactly. I forgot he actually was starred alongside Jack Nicholson, like
Hmm.
for that anger management movie. Wait, The Longest Yard was another movie he was on, which was an adaptation of a book, if I remember correctly. She even had a
Uh,
British adaptation with Jason Statham.
Yeah.
This was not the Jason Statham one, but it's still like a halfway decent one. Sorry, going off on a tangent again.
Hey, it's all good.
Anything you would like to talk about when it comes to actors?
I mean, like I said previously, I don't really. And there are very few actors that I actually know a lot about. For the most part, I just remember characters.
Fair.
So it has to be someone pretty darn prolific for me to remember their name.
Have you seen Little Nicky?
Haven't heard of it. No.
Alright, well, I'm gonna say like some of the plot points, just see if it sounds familiar to you. Like familiar to you at all. Jack Sandler plays the son of an angel and a demon. It's vaguely comedy-like, got a kind of an emo look. Part of the movie takes place in hell. Very short amount takes place in heaven. A good chunk takes place on Earth. Even has Ozzy Osbourne in the movie, biting off the head of a poorly done CGI bat.
Can't say any of this rings a bell.
Dude was really into, or like the little Nicky dude was really into rock and whatnot, including, what a surprise, having, I mean, Adam Sandler's character, like his like character really enjoyed the song "Running with the Devil." You know, what a surprise. Not familiar?
Nope.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't really think of too much more.
Fair enough. So then, you think this is a good endpoint?
You know, I I think so. Maybe.
Alright,
Feels a bit shorter than usual, but
2 hours
nothing
17.
necessarily wrong with that.
It's not really too short.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I kind of went through all the stuff that I had like thought about saying for today.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. Anything you'd like to say to the audience before we go off?
Smash that like button and subscribe to ring the bell. Woo!
Okay, alright. Buy a t-shirt. Have a good night, guys. See you guys on the next one. Peace.
Good night.